Hi all, in this video we are going to discuss an important agile software development practice called pair programming. Pair programming is a collaborative development technique where two programmers work together on the same programming task. Remember, two programmers work together on the same programming task. This is the important point here. We will understand what pair programming is, how it works, its different for pairing, variations, benefits, challenges, and different styles and techniques used in pair programming. What is pair programming? Pair programming is a development technique in which two programmers work together at single workstation. In pair programming, two programmers have different roles. The first person is called driver. The driver is responsible for writing the code and actively working with the keyboard and mouse. The second person is called navigator. The navigator observes the code being written, reviews each line, identifies possible errors, and think about the overall solution. The two programs do not work independently. Instead, they continuously communicate, discuss problems, and make decisions together. The important point is that the two developers can frequently switch their roles. One can act as driver and another one can act as navigator, vice versa. They change their roles simultaneously. Okay? This ensures both programmers get an opportunity to write code as well as review and guide the development process. It has some benefits and best practices also. Benefits are better code quality, fast learning, collaboration, problem solving. Best practices: switching the roles often, communicate clearly, using the right tools, take breaks. Pair programming is sometimes called as pairing because they may switch their role frequently. Okay? There are three pairing variations out there. First one is newbie pairing. In this approach, two beginners work together. This can sometimes produce better results than one beginner working alone because the two programmers can discuss problems and learn together. However, this type of pairing is rarely practiced because both programmers may have limited technical knowledge. Okay. The second is expert newbie pairing. Here an experienced programmer works together with a beginner. Experienced programmer work with a beginner. This is very useful for learning and knowledge sharing. The beginner learns programming practices from the expert while the expert gets an opportunity to share knowledge and experience. That is expert newbie pairing. The third one is expert pairing. Here, two experienced programs work together. This can provide high productivity because both programmers have strong technical knowledge and can solve complex problems efficiently. The appropriate pairing variation can be selected depending on the experience level of the team members and the complexity of the task. How pair programming works. Now let us understand how programming works in practice. The first role is driver, second role is navigator, third one is switching. The driver. The driver controls the keyboard and mouse and actively writes the code. The driver focuses on immediate implementation details and may also write tests. The second is navigator. The navigator observes the code as it returns as being written. The navigator checks for possible bugs, consider edge cases, and think strategically about the overall architecture. For example, while the driver is writing a function, the navigator may notice that an input value is not properly validated. The navigator can immediately point this out before the problem becomes part of the final code. The third important aspect is switching. The programmers regularly exchange their roles. This helps both developers remain focused and ensures that both understand a complete code base. Therefore, pair programming is not simply one person coding while another person watches. It's an active collaboration between two developers. Okay. Benefits of pair programming. It provides several important benefits. The first benefit is the idea that two brains are better than one. When the driver faces a difficult programming problem, the navigator can think about it and provide a possible solution while the driver continues working on the code. This allows problem to be discussed and solved collaboratively. The second one is easier detection of coding mistakes. Since the navigator observes the code continuously, errors and mistakes can be often identified immediately. Third one is mutual learning. Both programmers can share their knowledge and learn new techniques from each other. This is especially useful when the team members have different area of expertise. The fourth benefit is improved communication skills. Since the two programs continuously discuss code, design, decision and problems, they have better communication and collaboration skills. Next one is better design. While the driver focuses on writing the actual code, the navigator think about the bigger picture. This combination can result in more thoughtful and robust designs. Since both programs are actively in the task, there may be future distraction and less procrastination. Team bonding. Pair programming encourages communication and trust between team members. Developers learn to support each other and work together. Fourth, higher quality code. When two developers focus and discuss on different solutions and review decisions in real time, they can often produce cleaner and more maintainable code that better satisfies project requirements. Therefore, pair programming can improve not only the technical quality of the software but also the collaboration within the development team. Challenges of pair programming. Although pair programming has many advantages and it also has some of the challenges. The first one is communication gap. If the two developers do not communicate effectively, this process can become frustrating. The second one is unequal contribution. Sometimes one developer may dominate the work while other becomes passive. This reduces the effectiveness of pair programming. Fatigue. Pair programming requires continuous concentration and communication. Without sufficient breaks, developers may become tired. Another one is personality clashes. If two developers have very different working styles or do not get along well, the collaboration becomes less effective. Fifth one is time concerns. Some of the people feel that having two programmers work on the same task may take more time. However, the presentation highlights that pairing can save time in the long term by reducing errors and improving code quality. Therefore, successful pair programming requires good communication, mutual respect, and balanced participation. Styles and techniques of pair programming. Different pair programming styles and techniques have been developed to suit different team structure, project requirements, and experience level. We are going to discuss about 8 important styles. Okay. First one is driver navigator. Okay. Driver navigator. In this model, one programmer writes the code, while other programmer reviews the code in real time, identify potential issues and suggest improvements. The developers switch roles periodically. The major benefits are continuous code review, improved code quality, and better collaboration. Next one is ping pong pairing. This technique is associated with test-driven development or TDD. In this approach, one programmer writes a failing test. The second programmer writes the minimum amount of code required to take the test pass. Then the roles are reversed for the next test. This approach encourages TDD approaches, improves test coverage, promotes balanced participation between the two programmers. Next one is unstructured pairing. Here, both programmers collaborate without predefined roles or a formal process. It is flexible and can be useful when exploring different solutions or during the early stages of a project. The main advantage is flexibility and the opportunity for brainstorming. However, because there are no clear defined responsibilities, it may be less effective for a long-term or remote collaboration. Next style is backseat navigator. In this approach, here an experienced programmer acts as a navigator and guide a less experienced programmer who is writing the code. Okay, the experienced programmer explains the programming decisions, best practices, and problem-solving strategies. This approach is particularly useful for mentoring and knowledge transfer. It helps beginners develop practical programming skills and increases their confidence. Distributed pair programming. This approach is very useful for developers or working remotely or located in different places. Developers can use video conferencing, screen sharing, and shared code environments to collaborate. Even though the programmers are not physically sitting at the same workstation, they can still communicate and review code and solve problems together in real life. The major benefits are support for remote teams, collaboration across different locations, real-time communication, and code review. This style is particularly relevant for modern software development teams, where remote and distributed work is common. Expert pair. Two experienced programmers work together to solve complex problems. They may use structured techniques such as driver navigator or ping pong pairing to ensure balanced participation. It has some benefits: high quality technical decisions, fast problem solving, and mutual knowledge sharing. No-wise pairing. Here, two programmers work together on the same task. This encourages the collaborative learning and helps build confidence through teamwork. However, both programmers may have limited technical knowledge, which can result in slower progress when dealing with a complex task. Finally, we have expert novice pair. Here, an experienced programmer works with a less experienced programmer. The expert provides guidance while allowing the novice to actively participate in coding. This is very effective for mentoring, skill development, and accelerating the learning process while maintaining the code quality through expert supervisor. And produce better quality software. Thank you for watching. Thank you.